Okay, so today is our first podcast. My name is Mint. I'm a spiritual consultant, and this is...
My name is May. I am a Zenance from Life Altering Healing. I'm a psychotherapist and hypnotherapist.
So today we're here to discuss about what is the difference between hypnosis and trance. That seems to be a lot of confusion going on, that people are asking about. So why don't you tell me a little bit from your perspective as a psychologist, what is hypnosis?
So the perspective, from my perspective, psychology perspective, and hypnotherapy in general, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself and my experience that hypnosis is how we take people into that state, that changing the brainwave state, right? From a normal brainwave state to going to the alpha state, which is the relaxation state, and then going even deeper into the delta state and going deep into the theta state. Theta state, which is like really, really deep in subconscious.
That's where you start to do real healing work.
Healing work. But in the hypnosis or hypnotherapy itself, in order to be able to ask question or give suggestion, people have to go into the alpha brainwave first.
Right.
And once we go into that, that's when we start to ask question, because when your mind are more relaxed, your mind can follow the answer.
More adjustable.
Right. And then can go into that, answer the question more.
Right.
If we're able to ask a question about where the belief system coming from or what do you believe in those story,
right,
then the mind will start to find the answer.
Right.
Actually,
and the therapist will be the one actually guiding you to specific
in hypnotherapy, yes, because the purpose of hypnotherapy, clinical hypnotherapy that I do, is to heal from certain traumatic experience or certain experience. So very specific. So when a lot of my clients can't go into it by themselves. They need guidance because they might not have experience of being a meditator or meditated for.
It's like anything in the world, we need to learn to have a technique, right? And you've been doing this for 12 years. And so that's from a perspective of hypnosis. So for my work, I bring people into trance. So trance is like a extended version of hypnosis. So in hypnosis, we have you guiding them to a specific point in time to see certain memory and reprogram that. But in trance, we have an intention for a specific reason to go in. And my part is to guide you to actually go meet your spirit guides or your higher self, we call. And from there, the higher self or the spirit guides are the one that take you to certain memories or certain visions. And it's not necessarily vision or memories that you have seen. It could be something you have never seen before. They could come in messages or different ways. So we still go through brainwave like in hypnosis, except we go we go to theta quite fast, and we use instrument and music and vibration that actually allows the brain to travel into theta quite fast. And then we even go into gamma, where we actually interact with our higher self. So we ask them questions and we ask them for guidance. That's where the gamma start to kick in, like focus and concentration while being that deep state. So we have an event coming up. We do this event like monthly, where we have the part where is hypnosis part, and then the trance part, and then the sound healing part.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about like an example of hypnosis. In one of our day was like the inner child.
The inner child, healing the inner child. So one of our, I think it's the first day that I want to focus on the inner child, because think about, we all have the childhood experience, and in that childhood experience that we have, if we never actually process through those problems, and most people don't. Most people, like, they have the event that happened to them when they were a child, they learn from those events, they learn the belief system, they don't actually processing it or unprogram all those negative,
or even acknowledge that
it's a problem. So the inner child hypnotherapy to help them going deeper into see those stories that their inner child still gets stuck into it. And so actually we have a lot of inner child experience. So in that this one event will only take you into kind of
to like one
subject that you want to work on into that inner child.
Because like what happened when you were young becomes your personality too, and people don't realize that. So going into inner child also help you understand more why you are a certain way and if you are to change, right? So it's going to your subconscious.
Right. And so some people believe that, this is my personality. And I always tell people like your personality, you don't born with that personality.
It doesn't have to be that way. Right.
So let's say, get angry easily. They said, I get angry easily. I'm like, that's not your personality.
You don't have to keep that personality.
Right.
You have a choice.
You encounter as a child that make you believe something that make you.
So hypnosis, what's separate from trance would be like, it's something that happened in this lifetime, in where you're a child. Whereas like trance, like the second part of our day is bringing them to meet their ancestor energy. So it's going even deeper past after you meet your inner child, your childhood experience, back to your womb and all the way back, and maybe even meet the spirit of your ancestor. So trance, it's just taking you even deeper into beyond subconscious, right?
It can,
because certain things happen before you even born. Okay.
I would kind of like argue that a little bit. That's in hypnotherapy, in hypnosis, we actually take.
Yeah, you can do that there also.
We take people there as well. We kind of like take you into deeper. We go into the womb-based trauma all the time. But I would say, what's the difference in hypnotherapy and the trance? Spiritual trance that you do is that in hypnotherapy, we guide people directly to there. Yeah. Right? We have specific problems, so we guide you to it. We go with specific
There's
problems.
A person that actually guiding.
Right. It's the purpose of going in.
Right.
Versus in your trance, you would say a little bit different that you said you take people to meet themselves. Yes. Their higher self.
Yes. The inner self, the higher self.
That take them into it.
Right. That higher self or the inner self is a knowing, right? Like the one that have all the answer for everything that happened in our life. The one that was there before we even born. So yeah, that is the pretty much main difference. And
I would say because of my experience with trance and hypnosis, I go to trance with you and I hypnotize myself as well. So what I see the difference is that when you go into the trance experience like that, if you don't ever have the practice of like talking to yourself or even have the practice of like meditation or even have any other experience, it can get could be difficult or hard to do.
Yeah, it would be harder to people to focus a little bit if they never practiced meditation before, but it's not really a problem if you have a guide because we use instrument or certain things, or there's a way that we use that we pull your focus into to get there. But the main thing that separates trance from hypnosis is also it's about surrendering yourself to your higher self in order to get questions or guidance or the knowing to come naturally. So it's about practicing to surrender your mind rather than going and managing your mind. You actually trying to surrender yourself and allow the higher knowing to take you where you could be learned or you could be guided.
Yeah.
And another thing people ask, and even your client asks, like, what's the difference with like trance in drugs and no drugs?
Oh, yeah. I have, so my client asked me this a lot and they always like, hey, May, I'm going to go do this like ayahuasca.
Yeah, I have the same.
This like, what is it, a frog thing? I also don't know those things.
Yeah.
I've never done them. And I don't actually have anything against it. But in my practice, especially with complex trauma and trauma, PTSD, healing from those things, you want to be healed consciously. Yeah. Meaning that you need to know what's going on with you, what story, what caused the problems, why do I feel this way? And so you actually have to be conscious about doing this.
Also, like when I take people into trance, you have to be fully conscious in order to meet your higher self or your guide. Like, if you're not conscious, you will not meet your guide. You will just meet your own voices of your own mind. Because the higher self or the inner self, the higher self, let's say we call, is ourself in a higher consciousness dimension, like the best version that we can be in the person in this lifetime. And that takes fully aware consciousness. So like in the practice, because I'm fully connected with my guy and I practice this, for 12 years. And so I also almost use my own energy to hold people in that space, to be in that consciousness. Whereas, like you said, if they practice on their own, it's really hard to focus. How do we get there? So it's almost like there is this energy of my consciousness, which is not my consciousness because all consciousness is one, right? It's when you get into the universe consciousness. That is what pulling you into the trance. But when you're doing drugs, you're all over the place.
Right.
You can go randomly into past, present, and future. You have no guidance. Maybe you have someone next to you, but still you have no control in which direction you're going. Drugs, what it does is it literally like opens it opens certain chemical in your brain. To have a similar effect as when you go into this deep state of theta.
Right.
When you go into a deep state of theta, certain part of chemical of your brain is being released and open. Right. And that's what drugs do, right?
It's very synthetic.
It's very synthetic. And you don't remember exactly every single detail when you come out. Yeah. So people will say, oh yeah, but it's like a bridge or a gateway to open that portal in your mind. Sure.
Or, I see the dark, like people said, I see the darker side of myself in like a different form or whatever.
Well, that's what people call bad trip.
Right.
Because they have
really, because in hypnosis, I have a client that do many drugs. I mean, I work with people who like on drug for a long time, did drug, addicted to drugs, and then they do the work. They come do the work on their trauma, they heal from it, and they said, okay, in a hypnosis or hypnotherapy experience, they actually feel as high as when they actually
the same chemical release. Right. Like when I take people to trance, they come out like it's almost being in a bliss. Because your mind literally, if it knows how or direction or it's like a neural pathway to get there, it can continuously release those chemicals on its own by practice.
And I would say, when you're doing this consciously, you heal from it consciously.
Yeah.
Like you know exactly what happened to you, what story that's causing a problem, and you don't have to do it again.
And the chemical that we release in your brain.
Right.
It's actually remembering itself, which pathway it takes to release with whether and darks is something triggering you to release, but your brain don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
But your brain knows which way we went to
create a new neural pathway.
Exactly. That's hypnosis and trance does create both neural pathway. It's just how far do we go?
Right. And also I would add one more thing too, that people that have done those drugs before that come to me and said, okay, after we did it, if you find a problem and you don't work on it,
now what? That's another thing. I met a lot of people that come to me and after they do trance with me, they're like, I have done mushroom, I've done this drug, but then I found out and then I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I do next after I find out about what causing all those things? So that's why we have to do it in a safe environment with a guide or people who know, cause sometimes even when I take them, and we get to see something that may be unpleasant, we as a guy have to know what to do. Right. You as a therapist have to know when people go into that shadow that maybe we weren't planned to see, but it need to be revealed in order to heal certain things.
People scream really, really loud.
So,
hypnosis. You need to know what to do.
You have to be in a safe, you want to feel safe and be a safe environment.
Yeah.
So that's the main difference, you say.
Yeah. But they're all good. Like, it's kind of like.
I think both are needed.
Yeah.
Depends on different problems that you have going on in your life, whether it's like certain memory that needs to be fixed or something beyond or both.
And mental state, like people that stuck in the belief system mental state, they definitely need to heal.
Yeah. So hypnosis and therapy, with May, about mental and certain thoughts and stuff. And with me is about like certain stuck energy.
It's really more energetic.
Yeah, it's very energetic. Like people, sometimes they work with, their mental, but then they still feel in their body or they still have these things happening that they're like, why is it still there? There's that if feeling, that's kind of where the energetic body needs to be released.
Or they want to go beyond.
Or they want to go beyond.
The universe.
Because there's more than just the mind. There's a lot more than just the mind. And we'll save that for another day. Yes. But so today we clarify about what trance and hypnosis is. And we're looking forward to meet everybody in the event that's coming up that we're going to be doing to help people understand these things, discover themselves more. So stay tuned for more of our podcast and our event.
More.
Thank you.
There you go. Bye.
Bye.